Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you on board. I'm Carl, and it's a beautiful day out there, huh? Looking at the futures here, up about five. That's pretty good for the market. There's been a lot of talk here on Qualcomm. Let's just run over real quick before we get to that. Oops. If I can type. The SPX. Not a lot of fair value today. Market's up five, futures up five, so about running even like that. It's a good start to the day. It's pretty early. Uh, 12 inches. Yeah, Slawic, I heard that there was 5,000 flights canceled out your direction today. All right, let's go look at our positions. We got Boeing. It's up a dollar. Nothing significant here. Yeah, today I'd like to see this push up over 135 up towards the upper band. It was there earlier on. It's pulled back. We're in an hour and 15 minutes into the trading day so far, so way too early to call, but uh, that looks good so far. Qualcomm. Now let's talk about this one because there's a comment brought up. Hey, it's clearly below the seven. Why aren't we out? All right. Well, let's take a look at that, and they're all fair comments. I'm okay. So good question, Max. This is one of those deals, and we've talked about this. Time goes by so fast. A few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and we were looking at some stocks, and I forget the ones, but there was two stocks we were looking at, and both of them had that very close, where it's just slightly under the seven, yet still kind of holding a support level. All right, and then we looked at them the next day, and as traders, we got to make decisions on those days. If it's a definite close below the seven, a hard close below the seven, it's pretty easy to make that decision. Where it's just right there and kind of at a support level, you can just make it and say, all right, well, we're out. Okay, or you can hold it till the next morning and see if it comes back. And the two stocks we were looking at, I forget which ones they were, but one of them the next day bounced higher and ran higher, and the other one dropped lower the next day. And so it's one of those decisions. Do you get out right there because it did close below the seven, yet it's so close and it's holding on to the support, or do you just get out because it did close below the seven just slightly? Okay, well we held in just to watch it to see what it's going to do this morning. And this morning, looking at the 1 minute chart on Qualcomm, it was down 6 cents. I remember we first looking at this when it opened up, it was down 6 cents, and within 3 minutes, it went from around 73.34 range and dropped all the way down to here 72.64 within three minutes. And that's about that was not that far from the low of the morning. You can see right here at 72.60. There wasn't a lot of reaction time to be able to react to anything first thing in the morning. And since then, it's slowly chugging along here. And so we're monitoring this closely. To me, if it drops back down here towards the 72.60 mark, it's time to get out. But we're going to give this probably till the end of the day, unless it happens to break that earlier on. But we'll give this till the end of the day and see if it can come back for us. A lot of people are saying it looks like Boeing on Monday. Yeah, we'll see. But so far, it's just chugging along. It's down about 44 cents, well off the lows. And so we'll keep an eye on here on Qualcomm. Adding to Qualcomm here, we're looking to make another trade today, maybe for a Vibe or another trend rider entrance if we can find a good setup here. We won't add to it, but we're going to let this play out today on it and see where this ends up. What I'd like to see for Qualcomm, get back up here above the 73, up towards, it'd be great if it turned positive today, but that's just way too early to call on Qualcomm right here. But we'll watch it. If it's a clear close down, down in this range, we'll probably get out if it doesn't come back on us. Come back up here for us today, up at least to where it closed yesterday, or maybe above the seven. But if it's a bigger candle, then we'll probably exit towards the end of the day. But we're not going to make. And if you've been around us, seen how we trade, we're pretty patient and letting things. We try to keep emotions out of it as much as possible. Sometimes that's hard. If it looks like it's a hard drop, you can look at that and say, wow, it's really dropping on us. We better bail. And over the years, I found that whenever I see I'm in a trade that's really running against me, and I bail, I jump out and take the loss. It seems like it comes back by the end of the day. And so we try to be patient and see if we can get that. If it doesn't, we'll exit. We're risking maybe a few $100s if it doesn't come back for us by the end of the day, but we'll exit. But if it does come back, hey, we still got it going, and so we'll see where it goes. All right. Some of the stocks out. So our other stock, Boeing, it's been up between 90 cents and a dollar, a little bit over a dollar earlier on in the morning. So we'll see where this one winds up. Yeah, I'd like to see it push up towards the upper Bollinger Band here today. Yesterday's top three, run through those. If you have any stocks you want me to look at, go ahead and type those in there. Yeah, Jimmy. Oh, yeah, I'm sure everybody has these stories, but I was in a trade on Apple probably about 7 years ago, and I had a gain, and over the years you learn, and you try to learn from mistakes and things that just from the experience that you get along the way. And after a while, you see that similar things keep happening over and over. And the ones that keep happening over and over are the ones where, like, all right, I've got to adjust something here. And it's at least probably 8+ years ago. I was in a trade on Apple, and I had a couple 100% on the trade, and I didn't take it. And I should have. I was at the time I was off on a vacation with my family, and I check in on it during the day at the hotel. Now, in the evenings at the hotel, and I had a nice gain on it. So I thought I should just take it, and or at least sell half of it. But I didn't. I decided to hang on to it. And then I've learned now to pretty much get out of trades before I go on vacation if I want to have and really enjoy the time. And so I didn't get out, and then it started coming back on me, and it came back. I did sell some for a gain, but then the rest of it I held on to. And then it's just one day there was a little bit of news that broke on it, and it just tanked out. The bottom, I mean, the floor fell out, and I thought, oh crap, I better just bail on this trade. So I got out, and I drove into work that day. This was after I got back. I drove into work after I bailed, and took well, it was a good loss, but I did take some gain from the other portion that I had sold. But overall, it wound up as a pretty decent loss. But by the time I drove into work that day, Apple was positive, and it had dropped probably $8-10, and it was not. Uh, it was probably around under a $100 to $200 stock, so it's a much bigger percentage move. By the time I got to work, it was positive, and it ran up big time that day. And I happened to get out right at the bottom, and I'm sure that's happened to, if you've been in the market, it's happened to you. And so I learned, take the gains when you got them, if you feel like you should, or if it's just a gain, get it, or and as a lot of you do, step out a little bit at a time on the gains. It's a great strategy, and then not to get overly emotional and wrapped up, because a lot of times when you bail is about the time the buyers are going to step in. Not always. Sometimes you bail and it's a good thing you did, but so we always try to be patient, and we try to make most of our decisions we're going to make about the last hour of the day. And it's going to give it a little bit more information to run on rather than a steep drop or a steep gain during the day, because it's on the reverse side too, right? When it comes to taking a profit, it's like, okay, well, where am I going to get out? If you don't have a price target set or things like that. And sometimes you got a price target set, but it makes a dramatic move for you, and you think, well, should I take it here? And so the same decision's got to come in again, but on the opposite side, really more of a fun type of a decision you got to make about taking the gain. But that can be sometimes almost as hard as getting out when taking a loss, because you don't want to miss out on future gains, yet you got a nice gain, you want to try to lock that in too. And so these decisions we get to make as traders, and we try to be patient and see how things are going to work out. If they don't, then we'll get out and move on to the next trade. Okay, so Dollar General was one of the top three, up slightly this morning. See that upper Bollinger Band's coming down on it pretty hard. With Qualcomm, I imagine that's what you're referring to, Jimmy. We're going to watch Qualcomm here. If we're looking at it on a minute, you notice it's slowly, it's off the lows, slowly Yeah, I know what you're saying, Jake. Yeah, and for me, if I take a profit too early, yeah, I missed out on some gains, but I also locked in a gain, which is a plus. So I always try to look at taking a profit as it's always a good thing, even if I'm missing out on future gains. Hey, I made some money, and now I'm moving on to the next trade. But and the challenge, what one of the things that how Jeff has been able to hit the 100,000 a couple times on the challenge is in the challenge trades we try to push them a little bit, and sometimes we might push them a little bit too much and they come back on us, and sometimes we push them and they just keep running, right? And that's how we try to build the gains pretty fast. Once we get on a little bit of a roll with some gains, it doesn't take many to put us, to erase all the losses very quickly. All right, so we're gonna watch Qualcomm here, Jimmy. To me, if it comes back down here to the low of the day, it's probably time to get out. All right, another one of the top three from yesterday was First Solar, and First Solar was a Vibe entrance, Vibe signal, I'll say. We did not enter this. And it's pulling back a little bit, down about 89 cents. For me, the stop here is on the 7. That's would be time to get out and run. But right now, it's pulling back. And it's a little bit early, but we'll see where that takes us. Now, Solars, they've had a history, and I mentioned this yesterday, a history of giving some really good signals and then not doing anything or going the opposite direction. And if it closes back below the 7, it'd be time to run if you did get into that. If not, then hang into it and see if it can't get going. It had some good momentum, some big volumes yesterday, so I wouldn't be worried about it yet. And then the last one was Priceline. And it's rollover gone negative. Really, not too significant price action yet. I mean, here today on it, and 70 cents on a $1,100 stock is nothing. But price action is still in the lower Bollinger Band here, has got reversed and gone a little bit lower, but still nothing very significant here at all. Yeah, PW. That Boeing trade. Yeah, that was we were. I think I forget how much we were up on that trade, and then all of a sudden there was a fire on a plane that Boeing had made. It was sitting on a runway, and they even showed live pictures of it on CNBC of this Boeing plane on fire on a runway, which is off the side of a runway, and down it went. It happened fast, and that's one of those news events that you can't ever predict, and that they happen. Sometimes they go your direction, and sometimes they don't. And that was one of the ones that turned on us really, really fast. So stocks that I'm watching today, still watching Halliburton. This one, and this is more radar. I don't know if we're going to get anything out of this anytime soon. I'm just seeing if this is going to form a higher low at this point. It's way too early to call. This is a higher low now. What I'd like to see here for this thing to push up, maybe not that big of a candle, but up in here over the 7. Push up here off the 7 on a big strong open body candlestick like that would be a pretty good signal that it's likely to go higher. It might not for a while, but that one is one I'm watching. U.S. Steel, and Jeff talked about these yesterday. With Congress, they might be approving funds, additional spending for infrastructures across the country. And that's going to give U.S. Steel. It's going to get a lot of these steel makers a boost. Hasn't happened yet, and so far the action is 36 cents. That's nothing, but a little bit of consolidation here around the $30 mark. A strong push within early next week sometime up here off the $30 mark would be a very strong signal. If it would actually close up here on a candle like that, close up here in the high $30 range would be something that would catch my attention very quickly. Volumes are pretty low on it today, like Qualcomm. And they're going to be a little bit low today, and yesterday were low as well. And it's just really the first full week of January is where the market gets back into full swing again. And so we're just seeing some light volume, and that was expected. And a lot of you talking about Nucor. out there. And so this dropped below the 7 yesterday, and just a little bit of a doji right now. Too early to call anything with doji. They're not, dojis aren't super accurate. Doji is like a little plus sign, like you see here, and I'll zoom in on that. They can be areas. They're just they represent areas of indecision. So really, it could continue down. It could turn or come back up. Not all that accurate, but that right there. For Nucor to get bullish, and this has dropped below the 7, to get really bullish, I'd like to see it, and it might do that based on the news if Congress comes out and approves that spending for infrastructure. Yeah, come back here above the 7 would be a nice opportunity, and see if it can't get up here over the $54 mark, which it's been hitting as resistance for a little while. Yeah, might get a little bit of a bounce here. AK, I couldn't argue that at all. The sector is strong. They're definitely strong. I don't see much weakness here. So, all right. Again, I have not traded this stock here, SPPP. Likely got some news. See those big gaps like that, like yesterday, on some not overwhelming volumes, but a lot of big volume here. It's a low volume stock. I'm not sure if it has options on it, but it's a strong move. It's just, I checked the news on it from Monday, either Monday or last Friday after the bell. Some news likely came out causing that gap yesterday, and it's running higher today, which is positive. But right now, it's just so far away from the 7. It just, when it gets away from the 7 like that, just odds increase that the stock's likely to consolidate back to the 7, right? And which doesn't mean it's going to. It has to drop right back down to it, but it just increases the odds. So it's just hard to control the risk at this point. I mean, where do you set a stop? And as far as a price target off those gaps, it's just tough to say. There's always going to be some profit taking come in on these. It's just a matter of when it happens, and that's just it. If you jump into a stock, right, this would be more of an emotional trade. There's no technical reasons to jump in. I always avoid stocks after a gap for a few days to a week and let them calm that back down. And so if I was looking to trade this, if I was in the trade, I'd watch it towards the close today and see how it's closing. If a really strong close on a big volumes, then it might come up here towards $9. There's a little bit of a resistance right about where it's at, around here, around 890. But if it had some news on it, it might just keep running. But what I'll normally do, let me change this, is let these stocks run, get their run out of it, and let them correct. I mean, let them have a little bit of profit taking, and then see where it comes. And so if, let's say it got a little bit of profit taking next week and starts to come back down, down here towards 880, then all of a sudden you get a big bounce up off of 880. Well, now you got something. Now you can see, all right, well, the buyer stepped in around 880. Now it's pushing up off of it. Now I got a signal that's saying this stock's likely to run higher. If I didn't wait for that, it's just a guess right here. It would be an emotional trade, and what you would do on an emotional trade is just invest what you're willing to risk, basically what you're willing to lose. So you invest a smaller size, a smaller amount of contracts or shares. Now, if you're buying shares, you're not going to risk it all, but the risk is a lot higher, right? But if you were just patient and watch for a little bit better entry, then that would be a much safer entry on it. ABB, so it gets the gap down yesterday on some big volumes. Again, I am not too familiar with this one. I checked the news on it, see what happened there. This morning, slight gap up. It's up about 16 cents. But to get bullish on it, first of all, you got to check the news. But then also, to get bullish, I need this to close back up here above the 7 again and see what I do there. So no entrance I signal right here. If I was bearish, I wouldn't get out, but if I'm bullish, it's clearly below the 7, so I don't see any type of an entrance here right away as far as bullish or even bearish at this point. Check the news, and then see where it goes. We can check the news on this really fast. ABB. I don't really see anything really quickly here. Merrill Lynch, EMA picks ABB. And that's the only type of news out there on it. It was added to their top ideas list for the first quarter. So maybe it was just some strong selling that took place there because it's really not any type of news, and that's should be positive news. All right. Oh, okay, I gotcha. Thanks, Armin. Big infrastructure. Yeah, so just watch them. It's one of the smaller ones there, likely. But yeah, if they get a vote like that, then infrastructure it might just take off. But right now it'd be too early. And same with U.S. Steel and the others too. Right now it's a little bit early, but it's a strong group. The stronger ones in there are Nucor, U.S. Steel, AKS. These are some of the stronger names right here. AKS. A lot of you guys traded this one a while ago, had a nice run, but look what it's done. And this is what we call a bullish consolidation. Had this nice run, got a long ways away from the 7, and stayed a long ways away from the 7 for quite a while inside the upper Bollinger Band, and just started coming out of it recently. Now, the consolidation here has been slightly down and not much at all. And so what you'd look for here is a bounce here up off the 7. You get some type of bounce like that after some bullish consolidation, this stock likely to keep running like that. But right now, a little bit early as far as you could try to anticipate one here. It got up over 8, coming back to retest it. Right now, if it closes back below the 7 and clear a nice sharp close below the 7, below 8, means some short-term weakness. But if it holds 8 and you get a push back up off of 8, up through that 7, maybe early next week, then it's probably off and running again. With FedEx, big close below the 7, and it's just flat this morning. 73 cents. It gapped up, and it's sitting about right where it opened this morning. To get bullish, it's got to get it back above that 7 right there. I'm not bearish on it. There's a shorter term trend line right through here. You can see it's a shorter term. Shot up big and just kind of slowly started going up at a slighter angle right here. But watch it around 140. It's one of the bigger numbers. They got a 20-day average there as well. If you get a push up here off of 140, going back up through that the 7 right there and over 142.5, then you got something right there. But too early to get bearish, too early to get bullish on it on FedEx. Bank of America. And it's off and running again today. Had a huge upgrade yesterday and still running. And I believe some of you are still in this, right? It sounds like you ask them what the price target is. It's been a tough call. The upgrade, the price target was lifted up to, was it $18? $19 from 16. Doesn't mean it's going to hit 19. It's not too often where they'll actually go right to the price target and stop. It's getting a long ways away from the 7 as it approaches 16. Here it has 1650. Me, I can argue taking a gain any time along the way. We got a nice profit, but if you want to try to ride this, I'd ride it maybe towards the 17. It might just keep running 17, maybe 1750 mark. But very strong. The volumes today are already strong. We've been open for an hour and a half now, and we got some good volumes already. So this could, I don't know if it's going to equal yesterday's, but it's going to be up there above the 50-day average there. That green line I have is a 50-day average. Got in short on Bank of America. I'm not sure about that. I was out, so but I know a lot of people are in here are in this on the long side. Oh, you're talking about Verizon. Sorry. Sorry, AK. Never mind. All right, I'm just reading through some of the chats. Oh, my. Okay. Mankind here. So let's look at this. I like this action going on here. So you've got the RSI up here breaking above 50, and that was over back a little ways. Now the stock's been in channeling basically for the last month here between 5.25 and just under $5, maybe 4.75. Uh, Tighter channel, really between 5.25 and $5, really just under five. But today is breaking out into the upper band on some good volumes already. You look at the volumes. Whenever I see the volumes, this spike right there is really affecting what we're seeing here. But it, it's already up to the 50-day average today. It's already at yesterday's volume within an hour and a half of the open. Check news on it, but very strong move right here. If it can close like this, up above the 550 range, you got something going. It could run up here towards the probably towards the $6 range. That'd be the next level. And for a $5 stock, that's a pretty big move. Uh, I'd check the. It's a strong move. Can argue buying call options or stock here at all. It still looks strong. There's no signs here of weakness. And coming off of a move like that, the if you take the difference here in the channel, it's just over maybe about 30 cents. It's telling you can run about another 30 cents higher. But again, I'd put that up towards the $6 range. Check the news, but it looks really strong right in here. If it sells back off and closes back here where it's been closing the last week or so, then all bets are off. But this is a pretty strong move. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so with Bed Bath and Beyond, very similar to what we were looking at a little while ago. And you see here as it jumps up here, it jumps up, gets a little ways from the 7. It just keeps riding up the upper Bollinger Band like that. And we just got, so far, just some nice consolidation. Just bullish consolidation, just kind of going sideways. It's holding 80. It's coming down to the 7. It keeps coming, bouncing up off the 7, closing up there towards the $80 mark. It's done that for a couple days now. What you'd be looking for here is a nice strong push here up off the 7 and through 80 and have it hold it into the close. So something like this, where you got the 7 right there running up over 80 on a big strong day with a big open body candlestick like that. That's what you'd be looking for. On a stock like this, $2-3 pretty easily doable on a move like that. But right now, a little bit early as far as a trade on it. If I was in calls on it, I'd hold them until it closed back below the 7. If it does, but so far it's just some bullish consolidation. Right? Unless if it closes back below the 7, it just means it's not ready to run and break over 80 yet and hold it, but it's not bearish. It's just more short-term weakness is all that's saying. Yeah, Martin, I can, with Bank of America to 18, likely. Might not go straight there. There's probably going to be some consolidation along the way. But yeah, this is an extremely strong move here for Bank of America. And you could see in the past, and Jeff pointed this out yesterday too, when Bank of America goes, it goes. You look at these spots when it takes off, and it can really move. And this is a lower dollar stock, and to make these giant moves like that, uh, it's a big deal. And they got some, a good upgrade and a lot going for it right now. So, and it doesn't really matter what the market's doing with Bank of America. When it moves, it just runs. It might go straight there, but you know, with it so far away from the seven, there's some odds of consolidation before it hits that way, and usually that's what's gonna. If it slows down a little bit, it's where it's gonna can hold those higher levels uh, and maintain them. And if it keeps going up really sharply, then it might have a little bit of a quicker snap back. But I don't think it's going to be anything too big with the news they've been getting on them. For getting out with Bank of America, it wouldn't hurt to if you still own all of it, you could sell half. I know some of you sold half yesterday, or but watch it. And me, and if I got a big gain, a lot of times I just take it and run. And if it keeps going, I don't care. I can look back and say, oh, I should have held it, but that's what it's all about, is taking the gains and running. You got to take them sometime, but I mean, it's still showing a ton of strength, and the volume's still strong, so it's likely to keep going. But there's going to be some consolidation. So, but I think 18. It could probably go up towards 18. Again, it's not going to be straight there, but 18 is pretty doable here within the next 2, 3 couple weeks, I would imagine. Okay, well let's run through our positions one more time real fast. We got Boeing up $1. It's been in that range most of the morning, and then also we got Qualcomm. Okay, Rhino down 61 cents. So we're gonna watch this one. If it closes, we might have to exit this here. But when I do, if we do exit, then I'll be back on. But gonna keep monitoring this one closely. All right, I'll let you know what I'm gonna do there, and we'll probably make a decision on that shortly here. Advanced Auto Parts. Okay, there was a auto sales report out this morning that probably helped us. I didn't need to go see what that said this morning. It might have been a good one, but that's a very strong move. Hit 110. Well, I mean, how long was it at 110? The first time it hit it was first part of December. Stuck on it, never really dropped below 110. Held the 7 right there. Today is a strong move up off of it. Very bullish signal. If it happened to sell off during the day to close back towards 110, be very bearish. But it's a very strong signal overall. That's a vibe bull signal. And if I go to the trend rider, it's also a trend rider signal too. Jump into the upper Bollinger Band. So yeah, very strong signal there. So this is an auto parts. Look at the makers. They're both down. O'Reilly. Okay. Price line down about $5 right now. So yeah, it's dropping right here. It's still in that lower band, down about a half of a percent. So we'll see where that ends up. But it was up initially $3, $4 and has rolled over. Really, right now, it's still a little bit insignificant. It's getting more significant as it drops like that. But it's in the up and lower Bollinger Band, and still a trend rider bear signal right there. Schlumberger, what I do here, I'd watch it towards the close right here. If it closed down in this range, it's and I wasn't here for those trades. I don't know where the stop was, if it was the 7 or what it was. If it was the 7, then it would be a clear close below at this point. But watch it towards the latter part of the day. If it closes down here, then probably get out. But if it reverses, it can run higher. It was a little bit higher earlier on, but it's since sold off. Let me check the market out a little bit here. Yeah, so I started noticing some of the stocks selling off, and there's why the market has rolled over. Let's come out here and we can look at the futures here. And within the last couple minutes, the market has rolled over. Probably 3-4 points. So it's a pretty quick drop here in the futures, right? So I need to run out a little bit and check and see if there's anything causing that, or if it's just an intraday sell that's taken place. Okay, so that's what I do, Larry. Just watch it towards the latter part of the day, and if it closes down below the 7, if that was the stop, and I'll have to run that past Jeff and see where it was. But if that was it, then I'd probably just get out if it would close down there. That was you watching that, huh, Jake? Causing that. All right. Okay, so I'll be on video with you. I mean, I'll be back on video probably an hour and a half, something like that. We can look at some more setups and what's going on out there in the market. If we have to make a move on Qualcomm, I'll jump back on and we'll make that move. Okay, but let me reevaluate it and look it over. And if we need to get out, then we'll get out. If not, we'll make it towards the latter part of the day. But definitely watching it. So I'll be on chat with you. If you have any questions, go ahead and chat those in. I stepped away for a little while this morning, but I'll be not going anywhere. But I'll be back on shortly. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.